It's a career, it is my life, and it's what I've dedicated myself to.
We, the people of the United States of America,
in order to form a more perfect union,
establish justice,
ensured domestic tranquility,
provide for a common defense,
promote the general welfare,
and secure the blessings of liberty,
to ourselves and to our posterity,
do ordain and establish this
Constitution for the United States of America.
The idea of the Constitution celebration came to me one crazy night in the middle of the night when I had a committee to teach the Constitution to a group of adults. And this committee wanted to get into the local schools so that we could re-educate or educate the youth. And I knew from being a retired teacher that it would take 5 to 10 years before we would even have any chance of a class being in the schools. So this brainstorm came to me in the middle of the night. Well, why not make it a family event where we have children and adults learning together and having fun together and making it something that's not dull and boring?
Well, the Constitution celebration really was a brainchild of Jody Ferries that came out of the Traverse Bay 912 group, of which I am one of the founders. And about four and a half years ago, we founded the Traverse Bay 912 group, and it was really a conservative think tank, a grassroots group to regain the founding of our country, and the Constitution celebration is just a natural extension of that.
I started going to the 912 meetings, and from day one they were talking about this Constitution. It took me a while to figure out this was a program that we were putting on, and I was an easy volunteer, so I jumped right in and helped do it, and we had a real good turnout. We had a good time.
I came about getting involved in the Constitution celebration because of my mom. And I started to wake up a little bit because I had this beautiful baby girl and I saw what was going on and it scared me. And then I started becoming more involved, reading, learning, listening. And then this amazing group of people came around me that were all wonderful teachers, very inspirational. I'm talking about the founding players. And it just inspired me, and then from, the idea expanded, and now I can't stop or shut my mouth.
I was a latecomer to this group. They had already formed into a players group the year before, and when I joined 912, I started going to all the meetings, and then I got to see one of their performances. And they said they were looking for other people to join, so I said, I know I can do this. So I volunteered, and that's how I got involved.
I portray Abigail Adams. She is a woman ahead of her time. She was devoted to her husband and her family, and most of all to her country. If she got down, we didn't hear about it in the letters that she had written to John. She would be maybe a little bit angry with him, but not with the family. And she just had done so much investigating within the community and helpful, and she was just amazing.
Actually, my first choice for a character was Thomas Jefferson. But at the time, we had a 6-foot George Washington in the group, and I got chided about not being tall enough for Jefferson. So I began to do some research on other characters, and of course the first research that I was looking at was trying to find a character with facial hair. Now, facial hair was pretty popular in the Civil War times, but in the founding of our country, most of them were pretty well clean-shaven Englishmen, and so I couldn't find a character. But you know, I did most of my work on the internet, and managed to run across a character by the name of Peter Muhlenberg, who was a general under George Washington, and started to do some research on Peter. Unfortunately, Peter didn't have a real connection with the Constitution, but started researching his whole family. They happened to be Lutheran Pennsylvanians, and so ran across his brother Frederick, who was instrumental in signing the Bill of Rights and getting that passed, and so that's how my character was developed.
Mercy Otis Warren, when I found out about her, did so many things I never knew about it. So she should have been in the history books and was never there. So I thought this is my way of getting her from the past to the present for people to know. She did write a lot of books, wrote a lot of things, satires about the King of England and the colonial governors that I'm sure everybody knew at the time right about her. She used a pseudonym. She didn't use her real name. After the revolution was over and we became a country, then she put her name to all those things and was a little safer, but that took a lot. I'm sure most people think twice about doing what she did to do that, but she had to do it anonymously. And most women at the time couldn't write books with their own name, so they did it anonymously as well. So she had a couple of reasons for doing it that way.
We lived near Philadelphia. They had a character running around who looked like Ben Franklin. And since he shares some of my characteristics, I figured I'd choose him. And what I found most fascinating about him, in my time, he would be me, because he was a scientist and an inventor or an engineer. I don't know if they knew what engineers were then. I just wanted to show the kids that these are real characters and we're trying to bring them to life. They're not just characters, that they were human beings. And without them, we'd have no country.
I am Martha Custis Washington. You know, it's funny because they had a George, but they didn't have a Martha, so I just decided I would try and be her. She wasn't taken yet. I had known a little bit about her beforehand because I've been to Mount Vernon, but I found out also, in addition to her strength, she had courage and faith, and she was a loving mother and grandmother, and I admire those things in a person.
I portray the real Dolly Madison, who was married to James Madison, the fourth president. She was one of the few women, in fact maybe the only one, that the House of Representatives assigned a seat to. She couldn't vote, of course, but she wanted to be right in there and know what was going on and what they were voting on. And then she talked to her husband later that night. And they were kind of an odd couple, but they must have loved each other and enjoyed each other's company. He was quite short, and she was like 4'4", and she was 3 or 4 inches taller than he was.
There was no research on Heather Hollywood. She was just kind of an impromptu YouTube reporter created by the founding players when they were making their script. I hope to accomplish in playing this Heather Hollywood, kind of making the connection of the Revolutionary period when they created our Constitution to bringing it to today's date.
What I'd like to see in the future for the Constitution celebration is that it's all across the country. So I want to take a road trip. I want to go to every state, find people in every state that will put on a Constitution celebration that will be recognized by the people in the area, enjoyed, and encourage schools to do more teaching of the Constitution. And that's the whole goal, is really to learn our rights. And one of the major things is voting.
We're adding pieces on it every year. It's a huge event to put on with a group of volunteers. takes a whole lot of effort, and again, there's just a tremendous amount of dedication to bring this about. Certainly, I would like to see it be one of Traverse City's keynote festivals, actually. I mean, we have a whole number of them in Traverse City. We're just a party city, and I'd like this to be part of the party.
I have big visions and plans for the Constitution celebration. I see it going nationwide. I think everybody needs to learn about the Constitution. It's been so demonized by our media, and the schools don't really teach it. I didn't learn it in college, that's for sure. And people I'm out and about talking to on a daily basis, there's so many that don't understand it, they don't get it, they tell me it's an outdated document. So, you know, I want to go nationwide, and I want to continue educating people, and especially our young people, like my daughter. When she grows up, I want her to know all about it and be inspired by it and keep fighting for our freedoms and liberties.
I wanted to take away a learning of the Constitution and all our founding documents and have an inquisitiveness about them. I just think that if they learn more about it, they'll make more informed choices, especially the kids. They'll make more informed choices as we become adults, or they become adults.
Our founding fathers told us that we have to continue to educate for the fighting of our freedom, because otherwise we're going to lose our freedoms. And we see that happening today and yesterday. So that's the biggest thing.
You know, we're so far removed from the Constitution. We hear about it, but we never study it. And so we're trying to create some fun ways to study the Constitution, to get back into the roots of our country. And I think it's important, if we're going to maintain what our founders originally had planned for us to be, we have to know where our roots are from. If we don't know about our past, we can't go forward.
What would you like to see for the future of the founding players?
More people.
More schools.
I think I'd like to see some of these people could act as well as I can.
Well,
I know they can do better than I can.
we have a running contest
I'm running.
to see who's better, you know.
I probably can outrun you anyway, so.
Are you kidding me?
Anybody can outrun me.
I would like to see, in all seriousness, schools clamoring to get us to come in and perform in the future. Because like we've said so much before, I mean, so little is being done about it. I know there's a mandate that schools have to do something around the Constitution, but I don't know how many of them really do much. And it is really taking things to a new level, so that's what I would like to say.
Well, it is frustrating when we send out emails to these folks and nobody responds.
Yeah.
But that's not the kids' fault. That's the
Well, really,
administration.
we have had several responses. The one year we were going crazy because we had so many performances. So
That was a fun kind of crazy, though.
that was fun.
Well, especially those 4 performances in the morning.
Yeah.
After that, I was ready to go to go back to sleep.
That's when my
after that.
heel broke on my shoe.
Well, my hopes is that this could travel all across the country. There'd be groups like us wanting to get into the schools and give that spark to learn more about our founding fathers and mothers and what they sacrificed.